It's Lolita here with Youthspeak, and we are so excited to bring you yet another episode of the Speak Real podcast, where we'll be sharing one-on-one conversations with our youth speakers about some of the struggles throughout their life experiences and the lessons that they learned. We believe that storytelling is the best way to empower youth and give them the platform to find their voices. So we want to thank TD Bank Group for making this possible and supporting our online programming. And today I'm here with Adam, and we're going to be talking to him about some of the struggles that he faced with his mental health, as well as some of the things he struggled with seasonal depression. So hello, Adam. Thank you so much for being here. So we'll get right into the conversation. Adam, exactly what is seasonal depression?
So seasonal depression, or I guess seasonal affective disorder, is pretty much when you find that, as it says, when the seasons change, you feel more depressed. So for me, that's when around the fall, winter time, I feel more depressed. I feel more in a down mood. It seems like it's a little bit harder for me to feel just good and feel happy during these times. And yeah, it usually happens in the winter for most people. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, that you kind of feel a lot more down when it comes to the seasons changing.
Yeah, I find that very interesting. Before I had no idea that there was that this existed, so it opened my eyes to actually find out there was an actual a term for it. And I find that I've definitely found myself, I've suffered from seasonal depression as well in the past. So yeah, really eye-opening to know that there's an actual term for it. So is there a time, a specific time that you can remember that you were affected by seasonal depression, a specific problem that happened, and sort of how did you overcome that?
Well, back in the day, around mostly in my adolescence, I started realizing that I kind of was always feeling down around, I guess, the beginning of the school year, not really, probably end of September, October time. I started just feeling just depressed, down, my mood was nothing could really make me happy. And I was always just very confused about this. I was always thinking why am I so unhappy? Nothing's wrong. I didn't not like going to school, because I guess that was one of my things. Maybe it's because I'm in school, but I didn't really struggle so much in school. And I didn't really have a lot of anxieties around school. So I thought, oh, it can't be that. And it just kind of had me kind of beating myself up about the way I was feeling, the way to my ability to achieve things, when it came to me feeling this way around this time of year. And it kind of kept on going in a cycle where I'd feel bad in the winter, and then I'd start feeling better when it started becoming spring and summertime, and then feel bad in the winter. And it's kind of oh, I'm going down, now I'm overcoming it, and then I'm going down again. I always felt like I was regressing. And I think the biggest thing for me to overcome it was just realizing that there was a cycle, because I didn't realize this early on, that my mood pretty much changes with the seasons, or just pretty much even the weather. I find that sometimes even a rainy day can drastically affect my mood. And so I think that's what helped me overcome it, was just being able to anticipate the cycles that my body naturally goes through. Sometimes I'm going to feel a little bit more down when it comes to the winter time, and I just kind of have to slow down and take it one day at a time, and kind of be more compassionate myself in those instances, because I'm not going to be able to run around and do all the things I did in the summer, that is in the winter. And I think that's natural. A lot of plants go through this cycle, animals go through this cycle, so why don't humans go through this cycle? I kind of see it as more of just a part of who I am. And so when I was able to accept that and not try and fight against it and resist it, instead of saying oh, I'm going up and I'm going down, instead of just being this is just a cycle that I'm going through, and kind of seeing it more as a circle instead of just an up and down, that's when I started to kind of change my mindset and not be so down about feeling depressed or feeling at a lower mood in the when the seasons change.
Yeah, I think that you brought up some really important things there. One, the fact that you talked about the seasons and the weather, something, it's getting colder. And here we live in Canada, so we know that the winters can be brutal, the weather can be brutal. So we're all experiencing some form of that. When the winter does come on, the daylights are shorter, so it's very normal for all of us to sort of feel some of those feelings. So good point that you brought that up. But then also that it can affect people at different times. So you said that you started to notice it when school started to come around in the fall. And for me personally, I start to notice it like right in the middle of winter, like right January, February, just the end of the holidays, sort of. That's when I really start to notice it. So again, it's important to recognize when it starts to affect you, and it's going to affect people in different ways and at different times. But it definitely has the capability to affect all of us because we're here in snowy Canada, and yeah, this is the reality of the situation, right? Um, Okay, so, and I kept calling it seasonal depression, but I think you called it as another name.
I said like seasonal affective disorder. That's kind of like the, I guess, like fancy term for it, but like usually
Yeah.
people refer to it as like seasonal depression because it's you feel more depressed when the seasons change.
Right, and that's a good point to make up because when I did a little bit of research, and immediately typed in seasonal depression, and I got the fancy term for it, which is seasonal affective disorder. And then I was able to find a lot more preventative steps and things like that to remedy the situation. So, what do you think people can do to sort of prevent those feelings from coming on before they even come?
Well, I think the main thing I think is just anticipating it. Because I don't think you can really like prevent it all that much. You kind of just anticipate, yeah, I'm gonna feel this way, which kind of gives you time to kind of prepare for how you are going to feel. Instead of it kind of just blindsiding you every time and just being like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way?
Right,
Um, but there's a lot of ways that you can mitigate I guess, the depressive aspect of it.
right,
You can, one thing that's really helped me has been kind of like light work, where you kind of just sit in front of like a light for a little bit in the morning. Because I think the reason why we get this seasonal depression is because there's not as much sun out, like you were saying, like like in Canada, like the winter's kind of like terrible, where it's like always snowy or like always cloudy. And without that light, that does affect our mood. Like our body circadian rhythm is based on light, which is pretty much like our sleep cycle. um and also just like we get a lot of vitamins from light. Like we get vitamin D from the sun, which we're kind of missing out on. So I think one thing that my mom got me was a happy lamp. And it pretty much has, I don't know if it's a special light, I don't know if you can do it with any light, but like they have these happy lamps where you can just like put them on your desk and you can sit in front of them and just kind of like get that light in the morning to kind of like wake you up and make you feel maybe a little less down.
nice.
It's kind of working right now for me with like this ring light I have in front of me for this podcast. It's actually making me feel more and more awake. Um, but yeah, that's definitely a good thing that you can try if you're finding yourself getting more depressed in the winter times, because the lack of light is definitely a reason. Another thing that I do is I kind of like take certain vitamins. So once again, I take vitamin D. So I take vitamin D pills because like without a lot of light, we're lacking in vitamin D, which can get our mood down. Um, I also take rhodiola. It's kind of like you can get it at any like health food store. It's kind of like a mood stabilizer and kind of like reduces stress and kind of gives, for me, it gives me a lot of energy and it helps me focus. Um, Yeah, you can get it at any food store, Healthy Planet, anything. It's 100% natural. I think it uses like spinach extract or like cherry extract or something like that. I'm not super confident in, I'm not super sure of the ingredients, but like I'm sure that it's 100% natural and you can just like pick it up wherever. I found that that helps a lot too for my mood. Um, Other than that, definitely trying to stay active, like trying to move around more, because like once again in the summer and the spring we can go out for walks, we can do a lot of different things, but in the winter it's cold, we don't want to go anywhere. We're sitting on the bus, and especially during COVID-19 pandemic times, we're all sitting at home, and so we're not able to get that like physical activity. And definitely by staying sedentary, by staying still, it can make us feel a lot more depressed and like a lot more just like not in a good mood.
No, those are some great. That's exactly when I did a little bit of research that I did. That's exactly what it talked about. You talked about doing light work, which was really great, and then also getting extra vitamins, especially vitamin D. Packing in those vitamins when you know that the winter months are coming in. Starting to find the ones that are going to really work for you and really help to pick your mood up. Really key. And then also something that I would suggest is we only have a bit of daylight, for the days of winter. So when we have that daylight, going out, even if it's for just 15 minutes and just soaking up that sun, I think that would be a really good tactic as well. So wow, thank you again. Those were some really great tips for helping us to sort of combat SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
I definitely agree with you with the whole just finding time to like get out and like get the sun while you can, because you know a lot of times in the winter it's like we kind of just do our day or whatever, and then like we find out like at 6 o'clock and it's dark already, and it's like, oh, I didn't get to go outside. Definitely going outside is what is another thing. And then also I think I didn't mention was managing my sleep better, because I find that like once again I have trouble sleeping sometimes, and just trying to get into like a rhythm of like waking up, going to sleep, because if I sleep in, I wake up in the afternoon and there's like only like 3 more hours of daylight. I'm not going to be able to catch that daylight. So just like not oversleeping is one of those things that is also very, very important.
For sure. Awesome. That is great. I think that is all the questions that I had for you today, Adam. Thank you so much for being here and answering all the questions about seasonal affective disorder or seasonal depression. Thank you once again, Adam, for joining us. And thank you all for tuning in to our episode of the Speak Real podcast. If you want to hear more stories, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and join us next time. We're here every Thursday, same time, same place. And to support more youth by youth led projects, visit us at youthspeak.ca, where you can donate and spread youth mental health awareness. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.